Hi everyone, thanks for returning this week. This will be the last practice before this is a performance, so I'm excited. One thing, big update I have for everyone is that I did restring my guitar. So, not exactly sure where the package is, but it was this brand here, Augustin strings. But I did the classic version, so these are the Imperial. I got two kinds, Imperial and Classic. Or classical. So right now I have the classical strings, and then the Imperial strings I'll probably try in about a month or so. I chose Augustin because they did have an interesting review on YouTube where some professional guitarists actually reviewed their classical strings, Imperial strings. Can't remember the names of the others. They had some carbon strings. Anyways, so they had a lot of really good feedback about each set. So far, practicing with these classical Augustin strings, my initial feedback is that I really love the bass strings. They're very, I want to say powerful, and they do project, but they just have a really rich sound. I don't know. I don't exactly know how to describe it, but I do really like the bass. For the treble strings, I would say I'm a little disappointed with the open G string, so the third string here. It seems a little muted. It almost sounds a little bit like somebody is touching it lightly with a hair or something. So it's almost like the vibration gets a little bit toned out faster than it should. So open G, not as thrilled. But then the first two strings, the open E and the open B, I actually really love because they have a really nice sound. They're very clean. They project well, and they are easy on the fingers. Easier than the strings I had before. So it's really nice because I can slide, I can make transitions, and it sounds crisp, clean. There's a nice little, that sliding sound that actually sounds good on your first two strings. You can kind of incorporate that in. But it's just a really clear, pretty, it almost reminds me of like a trickling waterfall or something where you just can think of really pure water. It's clear, it's crisp, but it's also easy on your fingers. It's not, cutting into your fingertips, and you don't want to get a crisp sound because that'll actually hurt more. It's not like that. They're kind of like a soft nylon. So I do really appreciate that. So overall, I am satisfied and happy with these strings. It was definitely time for me to restring. My old strings, the Aranjuez that I took off the guitar, were old and worn. So I think even just having new strings that are louder and have a fuller sound because they're new is really fun and really nice. Wasn't so much fun having to tune constantly the day that I restrung them and was trying to practice. But that's just how it goes. And I'll probably have to retune sometime in the middle of this lesson it's not a lesson, this practice time as well. Because they don't, the newer the string, the less stable. So they do require a little bit of extra tuning and tightening, the first week that you use them. So also, as far as the actual music, I did make a couple of changes. I'm trying to think the most major ones. You can see here during the actual tango part of the piece, so right here, second page, measure 17, when you have the 16th notes that go from F to E back to F, I actually just changed that to a slur. So slur with my pinky, and basically it's just a slur between the F and the E, and then I hit the note again on the F. So that seemed to flow better, and it seemed to just, instead of doing this, right, I'm doing, I think it sounds better. I think it flows more. So I implemented that. Let's see what else. Did I change anything else? I told you last week that I reverted to 6th frets here on measure 7 and 8, 6th fret bar. The only thing I kept from my revisions was I crossed off that bass C. It's on a treble area of the lines, but it's a bass C. I think it's meant to be plucked with your thumb, and it's on the 4th string because you're down at the 6th fret. So I do still have it eliminated, really just because I want to keep a crisp B flat on the 1st string. So I still eliminated that, but I did revert back to actually keeping the 6th fret bar through all of measures 7 and 8. Then you go back to the 1st fret on measure 9. Those are probably the biggest changes, which really isn't much, to be honest. So let's go ahead and dive in, and I'll play through the piece. Alright, that already didn't sound too great. I'm actually going to start over, so thanks guys for your patience. And one thing is Travis is actually trying reverb when I play, so it does give it kind of a nicer tonal quality. You might notice, some of you soundboard enthusiasts. Yeah, I do also agree that it actually makes my guitar sound a little better, so I think we're going to stick with that. And if you have any comments on that, feel free to chat about it in the live chat. Okay, so definitely I think probably need to play through the metronome again. And I also want to work on this transition here. I keep messing up. So you can see on measure 12, that always seems to be a tough one for me for whatever reason. It's kind of strange too because we have a similar transition here from measure 20 to 22, and I seem to be able to nail that one, but measure 12 and 13 are definitely a little bit trickier for me. So I actually think I'm going to focus on playing this 3 repeatedly with my metronome to see if I can just get the transition down pat. It's really not that hard. I think I get a little nervous and I'm trying to go faster than what I've practiced for this section. So, or I think in reality I actually just haven't taken the time to really practice this measure over and over and over. So let me go ahead and do that now with the metronome and we'll see if it can improve. Again, I'm using Guitar Tuna. It's a nice app. Very convenient. And let's do like 95 beats per minute. Actually 94, that way it's exactly 10 less. I'm going to slow the metronome down a little bit. The reason being that I'm trying to focus on the transition, not so much on the tempo, if that makes sense. Slow it down even more because I feel like I'm hitting like 30% of the time, so let's try to get it up to like 50 or 75%. 74 right now, 74 beats per minute. Let's try that transition at a higher speed. So let's go to 84. go ahead and try a higher speed. I'm going to go to 94. By the way, thank you so much for the wonderful producing.
Yeah, one thing, can I just grab the package from the I don't know if you want this to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Travis adds it as being my producer again today, and I'm so lucky to have him, so I apologize for not doing a shout out at the beginning of the recording. Love you.
How was you? Good job.
Good job to you. Thanks for being an awesome producer. You can do the reverb. Thanks. Remember, this is at 94. So one thing I was just trying the last 2 times that I played is technically you're not really supposed to let your finger collapse. You're supposed to keep it always arched. That's hard with your pinky. Your pinky tends to want to collapse, especially during slides. But I thought I would at least try to see if maybe it improved the sound a little bit. So that's what I was just kind of focusing on. It's going to add an element of difficulty, but if I can figure it out, it might be worth it. If I can't quite get it to work, I might stick with just letting my pinky collapse at will, but or at its own will, not at my will. But we'll see. I'll see if I can keep it arched when I do that slide. If not, I'll just try to do my best with the collapsing of the pinky. But let's see what I can do. going to increase to 104. Oh yeah.
Are you able to play the intro at speed? Is this the recommended speed for this?
Yes.
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 Very good. Very, very good.
Now, just a note, this recommended speed is 104. I'm currently at 104,
Yeah.
but the intro speed recommendation is 76.
Well, I was curious if you could do the 76. I wasn't curious if you could do the intro at 104. That'd be crazy.
Let me try the intro at 76.
Because I think the tango part you really do well at.
Not yet.
I think it sounds really good.
Those transitions are rough. Okay. This is 76, so for the intro.
Really good, yeah. You're on point with that. I think you got the intro down.
Now I just need to try to get these transitions a little buttoned up.
Is there a, like, between the tango part and the end, is there like a closing, you know, because you have like the intro
Yeah, that's the...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play it through the metronome again. And then I actually do want to play a little bit of Sin Rumbo, the next piece that we'll be learning next. So that'll be good. It's a very beautiful piece. I'm really excited. These are all beautiful pieces. Okay, well that transition didn't go so well, so let's start over. Okay, it does need a little more work. Definitely need to practice it before the performance. But it is sounding a lot better than it was. But definitely still need some work on the transitions. And I do need to practice it with the metronome to try to get that 104 speed a little more down pat. It's definitely still a little bit of a challenge. And going into the performance, it shouldn't be a challenge anymore. It should be, well, I don't want to say not a challenge, but definitely more in my muscle memory. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at Sin Rumbo. Just another little preliminary look and playthrough. I'm definitely not going to do it justice, but let me play it through once. Bear with me, please. And definitely the fingerings on this third page. Let's see, so like 49 through 54, 55, 56, 57, 49 through 57 has some tough chords. They are really hard. And like I said, when I was in high school, I had a really hard time executing these chords. My fingers weren't strong enough. I do actually feel like now that I'm in my 20s, my fingers are more developed, and so it's a little bit easier to do these chords than it used to be, which is great. But yeah, these will probably require me to pause and figure out where my fingers need to go. All right, let's start. Excuse me. Just to point out here, it says molto espressivo. That means like, that's Italian for very expressive. So just wanted to point that out. think I'll actually go back and try some of those challenging chords again from this last page. Definitely there's a lot of things to work on in this piece, not just those chords, but that's what I feel like doing right now, so let's try that. Better. Okay, so there's a couple of things I need to remember for myself. This is mezzo piano, which means middle soft, middle quiet. So I keep playing those bassy notes like there's no tomorrow. So I need to definitely pay attention to the mezzo piano. And then also the rasguiatos. So that's, instead of like playing a chord like this, or let's see, like this. A rasguiato, you play it with more flair. It's like, and it can even be like this. That's also a rasguiato. Here, I don't think they want rasguiato where you do so much flair with your pinky first and, your index last. I don't think that's quite what they want. I think it's more supposed to be like a roll. Just like a roll. But I need to remember, and this is something I've always had a hard time with, I need to remember that not all the chords have rasguiatos. So, if you do rasguiato too much, people get tired of it. It's like, okay, you're rolling the chord again and again and again. It's repetitious. So it's actually better to just do rasguiato, for effect, and then your other chords need to be crisp and all the notes played roughly at the same time. So here, not just Piazolla, but the arranger of the music wants you to really give emphasis to these first few chords, roll them, make them beautiful, and then by the time you get to the second line of this section, you need to be playing crisp chords. You no longer need that dramatic effect. It's been introduced. Those chords have been introduced. Now it's about keeping tempo and having, it's all, you're supposed to keep tempo throughout this whole section, but it's more about like crisp, clear rhythm. That's the feeling I get. So the rasguiato is really just to kind of introduce those chords and have a little dramatic effect at the beginning of the section. So I need to remind myself, Brielle, don't use rasguiato every single time you play a chord, or else people will get tired of it. It won't have that same rich dramatic effect anymore. People will be jaded by it. So that's another piece of advice I'd give myself about this section. So let me try it again. All right, I'm going to play this piece through one more time, and then we'll be done for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Alright, thank you everyone for joining, and I look forward to seeing you at the performance. Thanks!